Welcome to another episode of the Chefpreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Andre Sinojosa. I am super excited about today's guest. I want to jump right in. If this is your first time listening in, if you're listening here watching us on YouTube or listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcasts, we usually go live with an interview every Tuesday, but we also put out additional content for you guys to help you grow and start a personal chef business. So without further ado, what I'd like to do is I have an amazing guest with me today, Chef Jeff Woodward. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. I think that's what it is, from Branson, Missouri. And I just can't wait to get him on the show. So without further ado, let's talk to Chef Jeff today, and let's start this interview. So, Chef Jeff, welcome to the show, my friend. How
Hi,
you doing?
I'm doing well. How are y'all?
Oh man, I am blessed and highly favored, brother. I'm excited to have you on the show today, and yeah, man. So again, I just wanted to kind of let everyone know. I wanted to just really dive into your story, Chef. First and foremost,
Okay.
just tell everybody again who you are, where you're from, your business name. Just give us a background about you, my friend.
All right. Well, I'm Chef Jeff, the Rogue Chef. That's the name of my business. I'm a private chef here in Branson, Missouri, personal chef. I've been in the industry for over 25 years. Started washing dishes. I've been an executive chef, business owner. I had a brick and mortar in 2020. Obviously, COVID shut us down. Um, And then I started my own private chef business while doing some consulting for a restaurant owner to help him with his restaurant. And then my personal and private chefing picked up. It's been doing so well. My wife has been able to retire from teaching after 25 years
Wow,
of teaching.
that's awesome.
And now we work together full time on this, and we're trying to grow it and expand it and give people new experiences and great experiences through food.
Wow, I don't know if I could have said that any better.
Oh,
That's
thank you.
awesome. That's awesome. So Branson, Missouri, I got to give you a little story here to keep things interesting. So my wife is from Iowa,
Okay.
and we all know Iowa is not exactly the hotspot vacation destination of the world, right? I mean, unless
Right.
you
Right.
just see corn and soybeans, but pretty much the same in Missouri as well. But at least they got like St. Louis and they got some
Yeah.
professional teams, right? But I also lived in Iowa. That's where I met my wife. But the whole point of this is Branson is a huge vacation spot, at
Yes.
least in the Midwest. So do you feel like, do you get a lot of people vacationing to Branson? Is that kind of mostly a
Oh,
clientele?
yeah. In 22 and in 23, Branson, we have a community of 10,500 residents. In 22 and 23, there was over 10 million visitors. And that happens pretty much from March through December. Spring break is huge here in March. We have 2 to 3 weeks of spring breakers, and it's just like a summer. You would think that we're in the middle of summer. And then once you hit Labor Day on through until Christmas, we're about ready to start our Christmas season. We've got the 3 lakes down here. So there's a ton of stuff to do here, and a lot of people don't know about it. It's like a 5 state draw. And one of the big things down here now is they have a lot of vacation rental homes.
Yep.
And I think this is the one positive that COVID created for us down here is the opportunity for the private chefing. People will come, not only just families, but businesses. They're using these cabins for retreats. Johnny Morris has got all his golfing around the area. So you have golf groups, and there's like different seasons for even our chefing business between the weddings, uh, like I say, golf groups, business groups, and families just coming down here. They're all staying in these cabins that sleep 15 to 50 people,
Wow.
and they're having and it. We're coming into it. It's a new thing here. It's only growing. We've noticed it in the last 3 years. It has picked up, and that's where we're looking to expand. And how can we take a bigger piece of this pie here?
Awesome.
And
So I love what you said about, and we have to call it what it is. Unfortunately, or fortunately, right? And I've said this many times as far as, the COVID word or pandemic or whatever you want to use, the biggest thing for me was I think it created more of an opportunity, yes, but I think it helped a lot of people see, and possibly even including yourself, see that it wasn't that the opportunity was there all along, but it was kind of like going through that actually kind of revealed that
Right,
opportunity, right? And
right,
so and so now I think there's other ways that people have capitalized on that. And again, we're not all about using tragedy to help grow these
right,
things, but
right,
these things happen, right? These things happen over time where industries become stronger or unfortunately weaker in different times of history and as things move. And even recently with the hurricane in Asheville.
right. Oh,
Asheville is, I wouldn't say it's like a Branson, but you got like Dollywood close by, and it's kind of almost like a southern western type of, however you want to call it, almost like a Branson to a degree, right?
right,
Where it's landlocked and it's beautiful areas and things like that. So I imagine that maybe people will start to even look more to Branson. Unfortunately, now that Asheville is the way, I mean, I hate to say it that way.
right.
We also have to be honest.
And yeah, and we don't wish. I mean, I don't think anybody wishes any harm to anybody and all this, and to take an advantage of it. I think it's just a refocusing on uh, what you can do and adjusting to the situation. Um, I think that time, the positives that came out of it is it's a refocusing on family, refocusing on priorities. Like, hey, this isn't really as important. And I think that's when a switch, at least for the Branson area itself, the tourist even changed. They went from wanting T-shirts, shot glasses, something to take home with them. They wanted that experience, and that's
Yeah,
what's opened it up. Like for me, I never really thought about a private chef around here because I never thought of it being a big enough city to say. So you think of private chefs in St. Louis, Kansas City, New
yeah.
York, Chicago, where this opened up my eyes and was able to talk and just happened to come across another private chef in the area who put the bug in my ear. It was like, hey, there's plenty of business out here for all of us. There's 450 or something vacation rentals just around
Wow,
the lake, and
wow.
take that. There's a lot of opportunity. So, how can we grow and give people an experience that they can take back and say, hey, we went to Branson, we had this private chef come in, and man, we were able to come off the lake. We stayed in our swimsuits. The kids ran around. He
I
adjusted
love that.
everything perfect for us, and that's what we want to give, and that's what my company, the Rogue Chef, that's what we're about, is giving that experience for them to take home and something for them to remember, and that they want to repeat if they come back here or tell their friends, hey, you have to do this.
I love it. I love it. I actually just got something just kind of hit me right now as you were saying, because I know that your company's called the Rogue Chef. It kind of struck me that a way that I think people and where the I think this is happening all over the place. It's been happening for a while. Technology is growing so fast and so much,
Yes.
right? We have AI everywhere and everyone's teaching AI and there's so much tech going on, but you can't get away from people wanting connection and you can't
Right.
get away from people wanting that quality time.
Correct.
And I'm actually realizing I was actually just this true story. Last night I was just talking to my oldest daughter about, what is wealth, right? There's simpler times with like, you know, I don't want to bring up the Amish necessarily. That's more
Right.
Pennsylvania, right? I mean, there's probably Amish in Missouri. There's probably Amish everywhere,
There's a
but
lot of actually there's a lot of Amish and Mennonites in the area.
in the area,
Yes.
yeah, I know there is some in like Kelowna, Iowa is big for Mennonite and Amish kind of
Hmm.
families. But the reason I'm bringing them up is there's a simpler way of life. And let's face it, a lot of people don't probably want to be like, oh, I want to become Amish, right? But they
Right.
want this feeling of simplicity. And it's funny how a simple life is now more luxurious than sometimes the highfalutin,
Right.
someone from Branson who was born and raised in Minnesota or Missouri or Iowa or the Midwest in general. It's nice sometimes to go visit the big city, right? The big,
Right.
Chicago, New York, LA, see Hollywood Hills. After a couple weeks, you're like, yeah, do I want to see a bunch of strung out people on drugs on the street? I want to go back home to see some field, right? And just kind of hang out by
Right.
the lake and smoke a stogie, right? So, but what's funny is all those people now are wanting more of that experience to feel like, and Branson offers that. Branson offers an ability to go and have fun with like theme parks and attractions
Right.
at the same time, like being in Missouri and kind of being out in the open. And
Right.
so I think that it's a luxury, not only, of course, the service you provide as a personal chef, but a luxury of people, like you said, wanting those memories, wanting to come back to this place of
Right.
connection and connecting with people. And I'll be honest, man, I work hard. Me and you, we both work
Oh
hard.
yeah.
Listen, we're chefs, we're hard workers, right? And so I would want the same thing. Get me out of the lake, and then I'll roll up and, oh, look, Chef Jeff got some ribeye and everything laid out for me. Hell
Yep.
yeah! Like this is a dream come true. Like
Yep.
I'll stay in my flip flops, eat my prime ribeye of beef,
Yeah.
and then I'll head back in the lake and have fun. Right? Like it's what it is. So um, that's awesome, brother. That's awesome. So you know, thank you so much for again opening up and sharing. When did you guys? Did you? I know you said that. I think I got this from you. So you started the business technically in 2020 or in 2021?
The private chef was July 1, 2021 is
Okay,
when all the paperwork, everything finished up, and that everything was filed. Yep, we got with our attorney, our accountant, and got everything set up, and we officially became the Rogue Chef on July 1 of 2021.
awesome, awesome. And your wife is working full time. Can you tell us a little bit about your wife? What's her name?
It's Dr. Dana. She was an English teacher for 25 years, 26 years. And she got her doctorate from Mizzou in educational leadership and policy analysis. But she's my definitely behind the scenes driving. She helps drive all of our social media. Helps with the communications. As you know, as
Yeah,
chefs, we don't usually necessarily communicate in the right way or anything, especially coming from
yeah,
like I came from Big Cedar when I started this, and she's just been the driving force and been helping get us to that next level and helping me push myself
mm,
and push the boundaries. And we do have one other chef that works with us,
okay,
um, and I met him he was one of my line cooks in Big Cedar. Mark does a fantastic job. Now he can do his own gigs, but we're just still trying to expand that, and that's where we are looking at the help to try to find how do we expand that
got
and
it.
get more chefs to put in these 450 homes, and not only here. We expand. We go. I do Lake of the Ozarks. I'll go to St. Louis, Kansas City, all over, a little south of Arkansas, right next to Oklahoma, a little place, Siloam Springs. There's a group down there that I help out every once in a while. And
Okay,
so that's what we're trying to do is figure a way to expand us, have rogue chefs all over the place.
okay. So let's get into that, man. So I mean, it sounds like that's something that I mean I can help you with if I can give you my thoughts on it. So the first thing with anything about expanding this kind of business, if you don't mind me asking a few questions to kind of dive
All
in a
right.
little more, these chefs you're probably paying them as contractors per event, right? The ones that do help you out.
Yeah.
Okay. So great. That's the first and foremost thing because as a service-based business, it's actually a lot easier to pay per event and contract in that
Mhm.
way and they earn more and they also can feel like they're part of what they're putting together. So I'll get
Yes.
into that in a minute. And I'm not for sure the whole process, so I might be redundant on what you already do, but
Perfect. Yeah.
okay, couple of huge points that I'll give you when it comes to really growing and expanding your business. The number one thing that you have to start to shift yourself into mindset wise is really understanding that you are moving yourself from being an operator to more of a leader. Okay. When I say that, it's kind of like, it kind of makes sense, right? Well, I want to become a leader. I'm already a leader. Like, I'm the owner, I'm the operator, or, me and my wife are. The biggest thing though is that, and really in a very simple one sentence way of how you find great chefs to contract in your company with you, okay, are you want to make them and provide them an ability to feel like they have, in a way, their own business within your
Right.
company. Okay. That is the number one key. Well, how do we accomplish that? This is where, again, that servitude doesn't just go out from the outer side of, like, from the company to the client. It's going now into the chef. And, just to kind of get this off the table right out the gate, you're never going to be able to protect yourself necessarily, quote unquote, 100%,
Right.
the chef going and doing their own thing. Okay.
Right.
But honestly, I mean, when I was an executive chef of a hotel, I mean, I, what's stopping them? What's stopping me, and what's having them stop me, like leaving and quitting and going doing my own thing? Like, there's nothing, right? Like, I can
Right.
start a hotel if I want to. Now, I did not go start a hotel. Okay, I don't have $100 million to drop on a hotel, nor do I want to do that. But
Correct.
there's ways, yes, that you can protect yourself. But as weird as it sounds, I think society wants to protect. Don't get me wrong, checks, balances, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, it's all necessary. But the best way to protect yourself is to build a good culture. It's to
Right.
lead people, to give them an opportunity, because realistically, chef, you just admitted yourself, right, that I really don't like all the necessarily admin stuff, techie stuff, all
Right.
the T crossing and the dot, I dotting, right? That's not really what us chefs love
Right.
to do. So, newsflash, other chefs usually don't like it as well, right? So
Right.
if you bring
Right.
them into your company, where you start almost facilitating and making them feel like, okay, and weird as it sounds, it starts with the vision, number one, of you being the leader and transitioning. Okay. Number two, it starts with the verbiage of even how you talk to them. Okay. What I mean by the verbiage is, we're going to build this. We are going to build
Yep.
this. Let's build this. Let's see how we can get you more events. Let's work together on growing this area, especially if you're going into other areas. You're now going to have almost like Chef Jeffs in every city, or the cities that you expand in, by having
Right.
this mentality. Now, I won't go into all the details really on this podcast. In my training and my coaching, I talk really specifically about how to, profitability wise, look at every single service you offer, how to, giving them, a pay chart. Like, all these things are necessary, because a
Right.
lot of chefs still, and if you're going this route, I don't want you to take offense to this. It's just, a lot of chefs I start to coach, it's a friend they used to work with, it's a chef that they used to work for, or whatever, right? And kind of similar in your case, and it means well, but you'll start to say, hey, do you want to help me out with this gig, or hey, I have this event I need your help with. And the mindset already for them is, let me go help my friend or the chef I used to work with, Chef Jeff, out.
Right.
Their mentality doesn't feel like they're coming in and saying, let me put, not that you're putting responsibility on them, but putting something on their shoulder where they feel like, no, we're the two ox, and we're plowing this thing together, right?
Right.
And
Makes sense.
people actually like that, believe it or not, because they feel like there's more trust, number one, with more responsibility and more accountability, which is funny. I just talked about that on my other video, right? Like, you implement that and there's more trust given to you. There's actually more trust
Right.
when you go that way. Okay. And so the biggest thing about that is, so that's where you start to lead them. Now, again, you do have to have the pay charts and the contractor agreements and an onboarding process to make them feel like it's official. If you don't have that stuff, they do feel like, well, it's just a gig, and we don't want that. Okay, again,
Right.
we want them to feel this is a real organization with a real leader, with a real company. There's a real vision, there's a real motive. I won't dive into all that, but your mission statement, your vision for the company has to be very clear, so you can communicate that to other people that are working with you.
Right.
So, shifting into the leadership perspective, having the whole vision be like, this is something I'm inviting you into. And then again, like paying them, handsomely, of course, and setting it up. Now, just to give you some quasi numbers, when I coach on every event that you wouldn't cook for, you should be earning around 40 to 60% profit if you're not even there. Okay. So it's a very
Okay.
profitable business. So we have to look at your prices. We have to look at, what you want to pay the chefs and their caliber of skill. Um, and it's across the board, but it's also individual. That's what's beautiful about it. You might have services where you're like, hey, my fine dining kind of 5 course stuff, if that's what you do, which I'm not for sure everything you offer. If I'm going more on the 5 course option and it's more high end, maybe this is the best chef in my team for that.
Right.
Maybe this other chef that's 2 years out of culinary school has, a good grasp on cooking. Maybe there's some of the family style stuff that's a little bit more straightforward, burgers, whatever. I mean, I'm just
Right.
some stuff here. They might be more suited for that. So based on the skill level, you can also draw up specific pay charts and agreements with each chefs where they're getting even bigger, I guess you would say, pay per event than others. Not because you're trying to be unfair, but it's matching the skill level, it's matching what the service
Right.
is, and so forth and so on. So
Yeah,
there
that
is
makes
a practical
sense.
side. And really, brother, it's about driving home that vision and mission. That is the biggest thing. And don't be afraid. I think sometimes us entrepreneurs are afraid, like, well, if I disclose what my plans are, it's going to feel like I'm trying to just grow me and my family's business, right?
Right.
But realistically, and I hate to say it, but you have to sometimes get the cobwebs out from other people how they perceive, right? I wouldn't say non-capitalists, but people think that as businesses grow, other people lose, and it's actually not true. It's
No.
actually,
Yeah.
you're blindly stealing from somebody and slave laboring somebody, but that's not what we're doing here, right? If the Rogue Chef grows, that means there's more events, more opportunities for chefs to be more booked in your company and earn more money,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
So, so it's pitching that vision, becoming that leader, inviting them into your story of not your story personally, but the story of the vision of the Rogue Chef and what you want to display to the world. And there's going to be people that aren't going to want that, and that's okay.
Right.
Hey, if you're looking for a gig, like I've actually just coached recently one of my chefs to put a job description out on LinkedIn, right? He got like 13 hits in 48 hours, but I helped him write it to where it clearly stated the vision, and the wording that we used was not looking for personal chefs to take on gigs. It was, we're looking to be the best personal chef company in Charleston, South Carolina. We're looking to grow this and become the number one name. If that is something
Yeah.
you want to help us do, we would love to talk to you. It's not join us. It's, would you like to even help us get there?
Right.
And it brings up, as weird as it sounds, a psychological event happens. It plants this seed like, oh, Jeff got a big vision. The Bible says, and I'm not for sure if you're a believer, doesn't matter if you
Yeah.
are not necessarily, but I'm assuming you are.
I am.
You are? Okay, awesome. Well, the Bible says, right, for a lack of vision, my people perish. People want to be attracted to vision, right?
Right.
When there's a big vision, it's like they're being called up as opposed to being called on the bus. It's like we're calling you up, right, to
Right.
help us drive this bad boy. So, um, the how tos probably can't discuss all those on the show because it'll be another 3 hours
Oh
here.
yeah.
But
Definitely.
again, it starts with the verbiage. It starts with getting you fired up about the mission and vision. And maybe, the way you started the business, great story. We started it during this time. My wife left, this and that. When you bring people on, they don't necessarily always want to hear tons of the backstory. It's more on what's the future look like.
What do you want to do? Not what did you do?
Correct. Right. And so
That's
you
more
you
so
start,
yeah.
and again, it's so funny how this works, right? Like if you start putting that out there, even on this podcast, and a client is watching this of yours or a potential client, clients as well want a chef that's running a company with a bigger vision. If
Right.
there's a bigger vision, that just means you're serving me better. You have more capacity to serve me. You probably have better team to serve me. You're taking it serious. You're not just like, hey, shoot me a DM. I'll send you a quasi invoice on a Word doc, and then you'll Zelle me some money. It's no, there's a
Right.
process in place. There's stipulate. that's just more trustworthy for the client as well. And again,
Right.
I don't know your whole setup. Chefs can
Yeah.
get to a great growth rate by just going out there and just taking on clients like you've done, and you've done more than that. I'm not belittling anything you've done.
Oh, I
Please
understand.
understand
Yes.
me. So it's just, but it's funny. It's an intentional shift. Do I want to make this bigger than it is now? And if I do, then I need to go all in on changing my vision and really going for that and saying, you know
Right.
what? Eventually, my wife won't be just the back end person. The team will start to grow. Eventually, I might do a lot less cooking, and have other chefs doing that. And so, I was a long winded question, but I wanted to kind of, I get super passionate about
Kind
it.
of a big answer, big question, big answer. So yeah, we do. I understand totally. It's like, and that's where Dana's background English teacher, she helps with it. And you're right. Like talking with our clients, we'll get asked like, well, what else? What do you do? What do you plan on doing? And we'll tell them like, we want to expand here, or we'll even have them like, hey, would you come out here to South Carolina or to Louisiana? I'm like, yeah, let's go. We can get out there. Let's expand it and see what we can do out there. Um, yeah, it's my vision, and yeah, and going bigger and trying to. I only have so many more good years in my life, to do this. So for this to move on, that's what I'm trying to do. I want to get out there. I want it to be seen. And when you talk about, and it's also about a servitude, of serving people.
Yeah,
Um, and this is, everybody thinks about what you're calling, or they think I'm doing what I was meant to do. I think it took 50 years, almost. Well, probably a little less than that, but it took me a long time to figure out, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm meant to do. Um, and so now I just want to share my passion for food. And I want to find people that have that same passion. And
love it. I love it.
they're also, they're representing themselves, but they're also representing me too. And I have a big thing about that. It's like, you're not just like Mark knows, he's not representing Mark and just Mark. He's representing the Rogue Chef,
Correct.
and he's been with me long enough, and to the point where we have a term down here called Branson famous. And it's kind of like that small thing where you start getting recognized out at the store, and people start recognizing what you do. And I love it when people ask me questions like, how would you cook this? Or like the local butcher that we have down here that I get some stuff. If I'm there and somebody's asking them questions, they'll refer them to me. So that's what I'm loving. And I know this kind of like off topic, off not being, but I think it is also part of being a chef and being a private chef. When you start working with your local
Yeah,
companies, local stores, give that information, help people out. It's all about that, helping people out to have that better experience, whether it's with you or
100%.
that they're trying to do on their own. Um,
100%. 100%.
and
And that's the community aspect of it.
right,
It
right,
goes again, like you said, even beyond your team. It goes into the actual community. I mean, the same thing in San Diego with Chef Daniel. In fact, Chef Daniel's my executive chef, right? He's, you know, I don't think he'll mind me sharing this, but he did over six, he's done over six figures in my business in the last 3 years, right? Every
right.
year.
Wow.
And that's he's in the business. He's not, this is not his company, right?
But
But there's ownership there with that, right?
right,
And he has Tip Top Meats, he has, Iowa Meat Farms, he has Cecil's Meat Market in San Diego, Specialty Produce. He has all these places. I mean, he'll even go to the Sprouts, and like if the guy that works there, the butcher, like knows him by name, like, hey, I need the two tenderloins, and he doesn't have to say anything else. He already knows how he wants them, right? So
right.
it translates that into the clientele. And
Hmm.
the more integrated you can make your team in those processes as well, everything from the menu creation for clients they're serving, which that's a pretty easy buy-in, right? If they create the
Right,
menu and you kind of look at it and say, you know what, man, this looks great. Like, can't wait for you to knock this one out and knock their socks off with it. Do you think they're gonna cook that food that they put on a menu bad? No, they're gonna be like, this is my stuff. I'm representing the Rogue Chef, but within the Rogue Chef, like, this is my domain.
right. And
So,
and that taking ownership is what, yeah, somebody taking the ownership of what they're doing and what they're the representation. And that's the hardest thing. And I guess for some of us chefs, and I know for me, sometimes trusting, finding that person to trust,
Yeah.
that I know that
Yeah.
when I'm not, like, even when I was in the restaurants, finding that chef or that cook that can take care of, that's going to make sure that the food always goes out, whether it's at that first ticket or that last ticket at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, when you're getting ready to go home. It's that person that's going to take care of that ticket the same as if it was the first, and no matter who it is.
Correct.
um, it doesn't matter if they're someone famous or if they're just us coming off the street. You want to treat everybody the same way. And that's what I'm looking for and trying to grow and get that and have positive attitude, for that and taking the ownership.
No,
Uh,
yeah, absolutely. And the processes as well need to be instilled in that. And there is a framework and a process for everything, right? And so, when I've coached people, there's a process for growing their team, scaling it, how to create that culture, how to create that leadership. What does the onboarding documentation look like? How do we do this? How do we do that? It's again, it's a reinvestment of your business with your time. If you really think about it, when you go cook an event right now, I mean, this as best as anybody. I hope you do. Hopefully
mhm.
you're charging accordingly, chef, for your services, but
Oh yeah,
it's a highly profitable business, right? Especially if you're the chef going there, like a lot of money goes into you and your wife's pocket. Okay.
yeah,
But as you grow, yes, quote unquote, every event you're quote unquote have a lower gross profit margin because you're paying out your contracted chef. However, it leverages your time, number one, but really it's a reinvestment of even like, oh, if I go cook this, I would earn this. If they go cook this, I would earn this. Now I could get into the math, of course. You're
right,
probably earning a lot more for your time by you not going to cook, to be honest. But the other fact of the matter is, though, is as you scale, as you grow, you're kind of looking at it like I'm taking, I wouldn't say a pay cut, but a gross profit cut to reinvest in building
right,
this up. But then you're leveraging more people. So then it's like the only job is then to then turn, once you have your team in place, then it's like, okay, I got the car built. It's ready to go on a long distance journey. Everything's ready. Now the job for me and my wife in the business is to market the business because now we have the scalability, we have people in place, we have the system set up. Now it's just now we just pump water into the thing, right? We just put gas in
right,
the tank. So and there's again frameworks for that, right? And so you probably already have enough business. Again, it sounds like with this one chef that's helping you out, there's enough business there to, basically he's taking on some events or they're taking on events. But
right,
then it's a matter of like how do we bring more business into it to grow them. And that's the other thing too, as the leader is responsible for, is like then you're communicating with your chef. You're giving them all your contracted chefs. Here's business cards. Maybe it's a jacket for them when they're officially like securely like you're
right.
one of our providing chefs,
Yep.
right? Like here's your jacket. There's a sense of pride there. Like, man, this is my own.
Yeah.
Go hand out all your cards. Yeah, it goes to the main office if someone wants to call, because trust me, a lot of chefs don't want to deal with that. But their cell phone on the bottom is still there too. If a client just wants to text them, hey, we're running late. We're going to open the door for you right now,
Right.
digitally, right, or whatever. Let yourself in. Watch out for my dog.
Right.
All
Yeah.
these
Here's your code for we're running. Yeah. Just go ahead and get in there. Yeah.
correct,
What
exactly.
we.
So, these are all things that really I call it a reinvestment of the business. It's because a lot of people think the first step in launching their business is the hardest, and it is pretty hard. The hardest part is to keep the momentum and actually grow it step
Yeah.
two. Okay, that's actually the hardest part. Once you figure out that system, then the third thing is really your only job again is to find more fuel. Really, every business only has three steps. It's really really not complicated, right? It's like market the business, sell the services, fulfill the services.
Hmm.
That's it. It's not rocket science. So fulfillment is like building the team, right? So you have the army to send out. Sales process, you need a sales process to take people that are coming in as leads, distilling them into buyers. Marketing is the right message in front of the right people to say what you
Right.
do and what you offer and get them to take bite to have a conversation with you. That's really the business. Okay. All the intricacies that go into each step, yeah, there's
Yeah.
there's
There's
a
little
lot more that goes in each step.
subcategories in each one. So yeah.
Correct. And so sometimes we find the capacity first, and it's not that it's backwards, but you have to be worried about if just you and your wife right now sounds like, again, things, whether it's slow right now or there's probably seasons in Branson, so you're probably having up and down
Mhm.
at that time, people aren't flooding there possibly in the middle of, December per se. I don't know.
Yeah, January and February is like the hardest months down here because it pretty much shuts down. Um,
Yeah.
and so, but the last couple of years, um, last year we did more events in January and February that
Wow.
well, what we actually were thinking. We already have a few bookings for them. Um, there is seasons, and we're finding it's like learning the seasons, and we've developed patterns, and we're able to look back at our data and like, so this time is for golf groups and businesses. This is mainly families. This again, then we flip to golf groups and businesses, and October is now the number one wedding month.
Wow.
And a lot
Awesome.
of people have the really strangest thing. I've done more weddings in rental properties than at wedding venues. The
It's a very normal thing now.
more
Yeah.
intimate, and you're there. We'll be cooking on grilling on the deck, same deck that they're having the ceremony going on in the backside, and so
So are you saying that the beautiful bride to be is wearing her beautiful dress and then she walks in and it smells like smoked pork chops? Is that what you're trying to say?
yeah, I mean, yeah, we
I
even
love
had
it.
one.
That sounds like my kind of wedding.
We had one wedding. My Mark was there, and he was cooking the ribeyes and the chicken. And this guy was like, "Hey, y'all have both done this once before. Just say I do. Let's get to the food. It's smelling too good." So it's just a weird state of mind the way things have gone too,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the way they're going, and that's where we're trying to be. We're trying to be on the forefront of this movement, especially down here in Branson.
Well, dude, that's awesome. And that, again, this is the trends and the things that you see in the business. And again, as a whole, right, if you distill it in like a big magnifying glass, caterers are struggling.
Yeah.
People don't want to spend all this money. They don't want to invite 300 people because unfortunately the economy is slowed down. Things
Yep.
become
Sure.
super concentrated, but they still want to have a wedding. Well,
Yep.
a couple just in our church just got married in North Carolina at a basically at an Airbnb and hired a chef to come
Mhm.
in, and I think it was like 12 people. And they
Yep.
spent all their money going to Europe for 30 days. They're like, yeah,
Yep.
I'd rather spend all of our money on our honeymoon than trying to feed 200 people and having been this
Right.
big
Yep.
rigmarole, right? And so there's these pockets of everything, and I'm glad that you're studying your data as well, which is probably a whole nother episode. But
Right.
that's really good that you're studying those, and then you just find those trends and you say, how do I just dominate this particular season, this particular market? That's all you got to do. How do I dominate them? Do I partner with 10 more event coordinators, 10 more wedding planners? Do I, okay, when it's vacation rentals, like I'm going to be the number one person with vacation rentals that everybody knows my name,
Right.
and I also have the capacity. Because just like we were talking about how you present yourself to internally to a contracted chef or someone you're kind of wanting to have as your team, okay, it's the same thing. You're wanting to emit the same vision to partners, because partnerships, if I have 30 vacation rentals in Branson area, just say I'm just, a company, a
Right.
local company, got 30 rentals I manage or whatever, I want to know it's not just Chef Jeff with his little cart. If I look at like the Rogue Chef is like, okay, this is a company that has multiple chefs that can handle. There's just so much trust. First of all, if they trust the company, not just you, they
Right.
trust the company, right? It's the whole thing, the brand, the whole thing. Again, then they feel confident to say, oh, they got us. Like we got 4 events happening at 4 different rentals on a Saturday, and they're all covered. Like they're not going to go there and try to call this chef if they're available and call this chef if they're available. So one of our partnerships is um, Key Concierge, right? So they have vacation rentals now. I mean, we're like partnered with them in like 25 cities right now, right? And what we do is we use our chefpreneur network. I mean, if you want to go start an educational coaching company and then have a network of all these chefs that you coach, that was part of the vision for us was how do we provide
Right.
more value to the chefs to give them events, but also provide and know that there's vetted people that we've coached and trusted and helped them build their company, and they're in Tahoe or they're in Scottsdale or they're in Asheville or they're in, wherever.
Right.
And now Key Concierge, literally, we're their national partner. They don't go to individual chefs anymore. They come to us and we disperse and we basically book the chefs, and it's a whole thing. But that's
Right.
the expansion part of it, right? So and everybody's winning. No one's losing in the deal, right? I mean, Key gets a consistent one-on-one relationship from company to company. We have
Right.
all the relationships on the back end. Now, I'm not saying that's your vision, national wide, but if you dominate cities with your own brand and you
Right.
operate those cities, man, there's a lot of growth, man. I mean, I hope I brought you a lot of value. I hope I gave you some value today.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, and it's just all that learning process and trying to grow. I think we're always constantly learning. If you're
Yeah,
not open to that, I think you'll plateau and there is no success. And
100%.
hardest thing to do is to change. And that's been my biggest thing is changing, learning to change and learning some of these different things. The social media, yeah, I can scroll, but we're on 9 sites, 9 different social media things. Um, and like you said, with like the rentals, we're in almost all the rental properties around here. Um, we've partnered with a couple of them to be their only offering, and then working with our 3 of the local chambers of commerce. That's been helpful
Awesome.
too, because it's also they're excited to work with us because it's a definitely an I don't want to careful how I word this. I don't want to say upscale, but a higher end experience that they now can offer people around the lake and that
Yeah,
come to Branson. So
I love
they
it.
don't
Yeah.
have to go to Big Cedar to get that experience. They can get that Big Cedar experience in their own home.
Literally in their backyard, right? I mean,
Yeah, and
really.
and they can learn. What I do like about it is being upfront, being able to see my clients, see their reaction. We have a little saying, the sound of silence is when you hand them their meal and they're yapping and yapping and yapping, then all of a sudden it's quiet, and we call it that sound of silence because they're really into their food. Because at first I was like, oh man, something's wrong. They're not talking, they're not saying anything. But no, it's like, then you check on them, they're like, oh my God, this is great. And it's just that instant gratification for us, knowing that we did provide what they expected and going above and beyond what their expectations are.
I love
And
that. I love that, man.
and it's just something we do. And I know, like we talked about the promoting, like uh, and like
Yeah.
additional businesses, like registering, like the trademarks, and we work with a local lady here who does her own salts, flavored
Uh,
salts, where we have a Rogue Chef salt package and a Rogue Chef coffee. And that's another way to expand and get into and it's something else to offer the guest. It's something that we can do. And we're just trying to figure out ways to grow our name, get our name out there in different areas and different possibilities. And yeah, and owning Branson, we want to be known as if you're going to Branson, you have to go to the Rogue Chef. You have to get the Rogue Chef to cook you a meal, and that's the goal. That's the vision. And then to say, hey, we're going. Like I'm doing a wedding in St. Louis early next year. And that's the exciting part. I'm being able to go there and expand there and get into those markets too.
well, honestly, man, I love it. I've loved this conversation. I've loved how your vision is expanding for the Rogue Chefs, and I really enjoyed our interview today,
Yeah.
brother. And any last words for everybody out there?
Um, Now, if you're coming to Branson, look up the Rogue Chef. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. YouTube, we do a YouTube channel too, and just come down. Let us show you the hospitality that we have down here. Great people. Just experience the lake, the shows, the foliage now coming in October. the fall foliage around here is just beautiful.
Oh, I'm sure, man.
Northwest Arkansas, it's a great place.
Well, obviously, guys, if you guys are definitely in the Branson, Missouri area, look up Chef Jeff Woodward and the Rogue Chefs. Really excited to have you on today, boss, and really excited to see what the vision, your vision brings you in your business. And thank you for joining us today, brother. I
Thank you for
appreciate it.
having me. It was a pleasure. Some great knowledge. I'll have to probably rewind this and we'll watch it again and to get that, that second absorption, to get that second layer of knowledge to
Absolutely.
pick up on. And um, thank you. It was a great pleasure being here and
My
being on the show.
pleasure. My pleasure, brother. So, well, thanks again to Chef Jeff, and again, thank you guys for tuning into the podcast today and or listening to it. We hope you guys subscribe. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, that like button, and tune in for more interviews and some more things from the Chefpreneur podcast. With that being said, hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you guys next time.